Welcome back to my channel. If you saw my last haul video, I showed this We Are Memory Keepers frame punch board that I picked up from Amazon, and I wanted to show you some things that I'm gonna do with it. I guess this is more of a demo. I honestly used it only a few times, but I just thought I'd show you what I figured out. So here are a couple things that I've made, and I'm gonna show you this in more detail. So hopefully you enjoy this video. So as I said, this is called the frame punch board. Here's some little examples of the different frames you can make, and it is by We Are Memory Keepers. And if you hear that noise is my dog eating beside me, drinking water. But so I just made these. So this one you can see is a little crooked. I kind of messed up on that, but this was the first thing I made. So obviously it's for frames, but I think this could make cute card fronts, assuming you don't mess up like I did. But I still think it's cool. I like it. So I got some Timmy people, some of his word strips. I think that's Timmy as well. Then I made this little, I mean, it could be a tag. You can make it into a tag. You could put it on a tag, whatever. Just little things, little toppers to decorate cards. And then you could even use it to make a shaker card. So basically you would just cut your square and then make a frame. And then I have glued acetate to the frame. There's foam tape in between, and then you put your layers in. And then I put these stickers and this on the outside. And so that's a really easy way to make a quick shaker card or tag or anything. You can just put this on a card. So there's some ideas of things that you can do. So I'm going to show you really quickly how this works. So you can use any paper. It doesn't really have to be a specific size like a lot of the other punch boards will tell you, and it does give you some examples. But take a square and say we want to make this a frame. So first thing I want to point out is this. So these little guides, if you put them into these first holes right here, you'll see, and it's probably hard to see on camera, but it says corner rounder, and it has arrows pointing to these holes. So if you put these guides in the first holes and you put your paper in here, and I will say this is a two-handed punch. It's not the easiest to punch, but that's going to round your corners off. So I probably would use my corner chomper or whatever thing, but this is here and ready to use. And you can round your corners. So if you don't have a corner rounder, well, there you go. Or it's just one less thing to have on your desk because it's right there. Then you have guides here, and they have numbers. And basically these are the widths of how wide you want your frame to be. So for example, we have 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, and 1. So if I wanted my frame to have a 1-inch thick border, I would put it here, and I would move this one to that 1 inch. But say I want my frame, I'm just going to do, let's do 1/2 inch. So the first set is the 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put it in the second set, which is the 1/2 inch. So the second set of guides is my 1/2 inch mark. And there's a little thing there to tell you. And once you decide your thickness of your frame, then you don't have to round the corners. That's just an option. You're going to put this back in there, and you're going to press that down. And you're going to do all 4 corners. Okay, so now we've done this, and I had it on the 1/2 inch. So now I'm going to go over here. Oops, there's my blade. I'm going to move this, and there's numbers here too. I'm going to move this to the 1/2 inch guide and stick that in there. I'm going to put my paper down, close this. Now, a lot of the punch boards have a similar little design. So it's got the blade here, and then this little piece that is what is going to glide through this track right here. So you're going to put that in there, okay? And that's going to glide. Now, if you can see, since I have it lined up, this little thing, this little gap where I cut, that's where my blade is going to slice this inner piece out. So you do want to make sure that you don't slice all the way, because then you're going to cut that whole thing off. So you're going to put this in it and just cut that piece out. So I'm going to try to do this looking over the camera. So you're going to want to hold that down, slide that, and you'll feel the blade when it cuts through. And then you're going to flip it around, and you're going to do that on all 4 sides. That one, and then one more. There you go. And there's your frame. Easy peasy. I even think that this piece that comes out would be perfect for a card sentiment. So I have another one here, and if you had a bunch and you just make, you know, actually have some different sizes, but if you stacked them up, they were the same size and these aren't, but if you stack them up a few layers, you could have a nice little topper for a card and put your sentiment on there, because that's a nice shape, I think. So I think that the piece that comes out could definitely be used. Or here's from a different one, you could even layer it and make a cool little effect like that, especially if you put some foam tape under there and you have some dimension. So I would save these scraps because I think they could definitely come in handy for different projects. So that is how simple it is to make a frame. Now let me show you the other thing that you can do. So something else you can do if you want to make a frame more like this, where you have like wider on the bottom and skinnier on the sides. It reminds me a little bit more of like a film frame. So I have my corners set here. So this one is at 0.25 and this one's at 0.75. So 1/4 and 3/4. So I'm gonna punch there, and then I'm gonna flip it and punch there, okay? And then I'm gonna flip it there and flip it. So I think the thing to remember is that you are flipping, you're not rotating. If you start rotating, that's where personally I got into some issues. So I flip, okay? Now, I remember one of my guides was at 0.25. So this is at 0.25 and that's gonna cut the skinnier part. So I'm gonna put this here. I'm going to put this. And then I'm gonna, oops. And I'm gonna cut here. Okay, now I did my short side, so I'm gonna move this to the 3/4 inch, just right there, so I can cut this part. I feel like my dog is about to bark because I hear the recycling truck, which I think happened in my last video, so that's wonderful. Okay, there we go. So now we have that style of frame. So I really think that there are going to be so many fun projects and possibilities for this. I hope that that gives you a better idea of how that works and how you can really just play around with where you put your guides and figure out, you know, what you want to make. And I think as long as you remember to flip and not rotate, that will be a big help. At least it was for me. And then you can just make all these different size frames. So hopefully this was helpful. My next video, I will do one on the pocket punch board that I got recently. I also do own the 3-in-1 punch board that makes envelopes, gift boxes, and bows. And I have the pendant banner one too. So if you guys want to see videos on those, I'd be happy to do that as well. So once again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and stay tuned for my next video. Thanks so much, guys.